Hare Krishna, everyone. It's said in Bhagavatam that Pravishta Karna Randrena Savaham Bhava Sauruham Dhunoti Shamalam Krishna Sailisha Yayata Sharat. Sukadeva Goswami says that whoever accepts the sound incarnation of Krishna, when it enters from the ears of a Vaishnava, of a devotee, it goes to the heart and cleanses our mind from all the material contamination. And just like an autumn rain clears up the muddy water filling pond. So similarly, today we have assembled here on auspicious day of Pap Mochini Ekadashi to churn up some nectar from Bhagavad Gita, and hopefully we will be able to mutually benefit each other, especially me, because I need quite a amount of purification. So let's get started. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, verse number 17. Yasya anhankrito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa imai lokan na hanti na nibyate. Yasya anhankrita bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa imai lokan na hanti na nibdayate. Prabhuji, is anyone going to try? Yasya naham krito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa imai lokan na hanati na nibdayate. Yasya nahan krito bhavo yasya na lipyate na hante na nibhadyate. Mataji's? Anyone? Yasya nahan krito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa imai lokan na hanati na nipadyate. Yasya nahan krito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa imai lokan na hanti na nibadyate. What word translation? Yasya, one whose, na, never, ahankrita, of false ego, bhavaha, nature, buddhi, intelligence. Yasya, one whose, na, never, lipyate, is attached, hatva, killing, api, even, saha, he, iman, this, lokan, world, na, never, hanti, kills, na, never, nibhadyate, becomes entangled. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor he is bound by his action. Purport. In this verse, the Lord informs Arjuna that the desire not to fight arises from false ego. Arjuna, though himself to be the doer of action, but he did not consider the supreme sanction within and without. If one does, who knows if one does who knows that a super sanction is there, why should he act? But one who knows the instructions of work, himself as the worker, and the Supreme Lord as the Supreme Sanctioner, is perfect in doing everything. Such a person is never in illusion. Personal activity and responsibility arises from false ego and godlessness, or a lack of Krishna consciousness. Anyone who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of Super Soul or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, ever though killing, does not kill, nor is he ever affected by the reaction of such killing. When a soldier kills under command of a superior officer, he is not subjected to be judged. But if a soldier kills on his own personal account, then he is certainly judged by a court of law. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति सपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनेति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। I really pray to all the lotus feet of all the devotees so that I will be able to repeat the words from my predecessors, from spiritual masters. So I will maybe able to serve Prabhupada by sharing his message to all of you. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So this verse 18-17, if we see, it's the last in a section of last 5 verses, which is starting from 18-13 coming to this verse 18-17. In this verse, Krishna is explaining how the action has been performed and how the karma is actually performed by a jiva. When it came from 18-13 to 18-17, he explains that there are 5 factors which are involved performing an action. In the last verse, Eric Prabhu really nicely explained that what are the different aspects of performing an action, and if one is thinking that he himself is the doer of the action, he is basically a fool. So just to remind, just to go as a flow, because this verse is a couplet of the last verse. Last verse explained that if you are thinking you are the only doer of an action, then you are a fool. So this verse covers the other side of the spectrum. If you don't think that you are the doer of the action, you are not entangled by your false ego, your intelligence is free, then even if you kill, still you will not be entangled by your actions. So I will just quickly repeat what are the 5 different doers. The first doer, body, adhishtatam, which is known as physical field of the action. Because in this material world, nothing can be done without a material body. So that's the first doer. Second doer, the performer, known as karta, which is, it can be our soul, which is causing that action in a mood or in an expectation of getting some results out of it. So the second performer is the soul. Third one is the senses, indriyanam, which is, and as is the third doer, it's known as karanam. And in this, there are 5 working senses and 5 knowledge gathering senses by which different activities are performed in different coordinations. So whatever may the action is, they are performed in the coordination of these 10 different senses. The fourth doer is endeavor, cheshta. So our material body is different, is made up of different systems. Different energy flows through it by which the body is functional. There are different prana vayus which flows out, and it works in a specific rhythm, specific mode by which the material action, physical action is performed, the physiology is maintained. So the energy which is spent to perform that action and the life airs which circulates to perform that action is the fourth doer. Fifth doer, and the final one, Devyam, super soul. To perform all of these actions, when it acts as a final sanctioner, when that action is sanctioned by super soul, finally the action is performed by all the other force, and the action is carried out. So yes, and we are one of the soul, the jiva is one of that doers, not all of it. And if you see the proportion, obviously the other four are in one side. So thinking of doing an action and actually being performed is one thing. So that's why we say that Krishna is Sarva Karana Karanam, is the final sanctioner. Okay, let's go. And if we see the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, how the Bhagavad Gita started, Krishna saw Arjuna in his delusion. Like he was completely confused. He was bewildered. He was miserable. He has anxiety, severe anxiety attack. And he gave four different reasons to Krishna that why he shouldn't fight. Out of those four reasons, the first one was compassion. He was compassionate about the people he was about to kill. That many amount of army was there in front of us, including his own family members. So he was compassionate. If I kill them, I will be widowing so many women. The society will be collapsed. So the first reason of not engaging into fight, according to Arjuna, was compassion. Second, enjoyment. Even if he would have fought the war and he would have won, he was thinking that I would be enjoying the kingdom on the deathbed of that many soldiers he was about to kill. So the throne, the kingdom will be stained in so much blood, so he won't be able to enjoy it. That was his second concern, fighting the war. Third concern was fearful of sinful reactions. He was fearful that so many people he was about to kill. Few people were religious, few people were not. Few people were just trying to do their duty as a soldier. But he will be killing them. And the burden of the sinful reaction will be so much that even though he might end up enjoying the kingdom, but after this life, he was thinking that he will go into hell and he has to suffer a lot there. So he was afraid of the sinful reactions. And the fourth reason, according to Arjuna, of not fighting was of destruction of dynasty. The amount of people was about to kill, the whole dynasty was about to collapse, and he could foresee it. And he could even predict that what can happen after that. So those were four basic reasons, and Krishna cleared quite few of them, all of them actually, as the Bhagavad Gita proceeded. And if we see the flow of Bhagavad Gita, in first chapter, Arjuna is crying out, like, okay, he's explaining his confusion. In second chapter, it's kind of a summary where Krishna explains what he's going to tell later on in Bhagavad Gita. He almost cleared off his confusions in second chapter itself, but then he elaborates chapter by chapter. But this part, in the final chapter, he is kind of again revising what he said before, so that there should be no doubt in mind of Arjuna to perform his duties. So again, this verse and the four verse succeeding to this verse is eliminating the fearful of sinful reactions out of Arjuna. So again, if we see the translation again, it says that one will not be bound by their actions. No one will be not bound by their karmas. Who doesn't want that, right? We do lots of things in this world. Maybe not everything is pious, right? But we think we should be free from them. We should be not bound to them. But to get to that, there are two basic requirements to do it. The first one should not be motivated by false ego. First, very big requisite. And the second prerequisite is his intelligence should not be entangled. I will try to elaborate these 2 points. What are these two requisites to reach of not bound by any one of our actions? So first we see what false ego is. False ego is one of the constituent of our subtle body. Our subtle body is made up of mind, intelligence, mind, intelligence, and false ego. That's our subtle body. So when the false ego is one of our prime constituent, by which the jiva thinks that he is the physical body he is in. So maybe whatever physical body he is in, out of the 84 lakh species, whichever body he has to accept because of his karma, he thinks he is that body. And it's, in one way, it's necessary as well, because unless and until a jiva thinks that he is the physical body, he will not be motivated to maintain that physical body. So he does actions in such a way that he will be able to maintain that physical body, no matter whichever organism it is. And when it comes to humans, we do it in a more sophisticated way because we have that brain to work through it. Okay, so false ego is one of the impediment in ourselves in our spiritual path, because if we are stuck to this identity that we are this physical body, we will not be able to think spiritually and who we are, what are we coming from, Atato Brahma Jidyasa, where are we coming from, where am I going to? So unless and until we get that knowledge by which we can see through our false ego, our spiritual path is kind of stuck. So this subtle body passes from one material body to another material body, lifetime after lifetime, birth after birth. So whatever we think of, whatever we aspiring to, whatever our dreams are, they are also, our tendencies are also passed by the subtle body from one material body to another material body. Even though if it's successions of human birth, it's still there. So once we are into the spiritual path, we are working progressively to clear our consciousness, to clear this subtle body which we have been carrying from lifetime after lifetime. That's why it has been seen, and sometimes even devotees says that, okay, before I was fine, but when I started chanting Hare Krishna, oh my Krishna, so bad thoughts are coming in my mind. There are so many anarthas in me. The life has become more hellish. I was better off before, But no. These are the dust which was previously accumulated from so many different lifetimes, and now we are finally taken the responsibility of clearing it off. So yes, and when we identify ourselves in this physical body, there are different identifications, right? Okay, if I identify that I am a male, then naturally, the natural tendency, how the material body will work, that I will be looking for a female. If a person identifies as a female, then he will be looking for a male. Okay, there is injustice, feminism, because why? Because you are identifying as a female. And I know nowadays people can identify with many other things, but I will not go into that. So yes. So these are two aspects of false ego. The first one, where the jiva is associating himself with the physical body. And the second aspect, the second side of the coin of false ego is doer, the performance of the action while being in that material body. So Krishna already in chapter 3 himself said that Indriyani, Prakriti kriyamanani guna karmana sarvashah ahankara vimudatma karta maniti manyate. The jiva, the soul, which is bewildered by the influence of the false ego, thinks himself as the doer of the activities. But those activities are actually carried out by the three modes of material nature. Again, as a revision, three modes of material nature. First one, the mode of goodness, called as sattva gun. Second, the mode of rajagun, which is called as mode of passion. Third one, the mode of ignorance, or tamagun. So this material universe, whatever the different five elements, whatever jivas, whatever constitutions are there, these are by this combination of these three modes of material nature. And we are constantly in a composition of these three modes, influenced by these three modes of material nature, by which our tendencies, our actions are guided. And unless and until we try to fix our false ego, unless and until we attentively try to work through it, we are still guided by these three modes of material nature. And that's why it's been said that but still, false ego is so big, no matter how much our activities are guided by these three modes of false ego, we think we are the doer and we are performing these activities. So anyways, activities has to be performed. Again, Krishna has already been explained that as a jiva in this material world cannot be inactive. Just like water, it has to be flown. It will flow. Inactivity is not possible. So how to act? What to act? That's the question, right? Again, Krishnadas Koiraj Goswami so nicely says, Eklash Ishwara Krishna ar savabhritya yare yache nachaye se teshe kare nitya. Still, we are being in this material world, try to fulfilling our desires, being acting, but still we shouldn't forget that all the activities are performed by Krishna. Even though our activities are influenced by these three modes of material nature, but that modes are coming from the material nature. And material nature is none other than Bahiranga Shakti, the external potency of Krishna. So again, Krishna is indirectly linked as the controller of the actions. So yes, before, in the beginning, when Arjuna was bewildered, when he was confused whether he should fight this war or not, he was thinking, he was believing that he is the doer. And that's why he was hesitant. That's why he was confused that he should fight or not. But again, Krishna successively breaking down bit by bit his confusion so that he will not have any other confusion, and then he can take the best decision which he has to take. So yes, and again, what action to perform? In 8.9, Krishna again says that Karyam iti eva yat karma nityam kriyate Arjuna. It says, first to be detachment, you have to perform the activities which are prescribed by scriptures. So you can't just do whimsically things and say that, okay, I'm not the doer, right? Krishna is the doer. But you can't be detached by doing that. You have first prerequisite for doing it is you have to perform the prescribed duties by scriptures. And again, when it comes to doing the duties which are prescribed, one may say that there is a verse, some might say that, okay, there is a nice verse in like 1817, he says that you can kill person, still you will not be attached by by that actions. So, is it true that Krishna is suggesting violence? Is it true that, okay, if I blow up a bomb in a public area and I said, anyways, I am not the doer, then soldiers might come, police might come and catch me, hang me, and they said, okay, even they are not the doer, right? But what the thing is, like, if you are choosing what action to do by your own whimsical nature, then you have to be responsible as well for what actions you are doing. Even though you are not the total doer, still you have to be responsible. So where this sense of responsibility comes from? When one is motivated and one who has expectations out of the actions he is performing, from that sense the responsibility comes. That's why the detachment, when acting in a way where he is not been entangled in this material world, is so much pressed in chapter 3 as in Karma Yoga itself. That's why in 18 point, not 18 point, just a second. So again, just the point which I was saying. So Krishna is not promoting violence. So what is he promoting? Silence? No, not even silence. Not silence, not violence, but transcendence. Unless and until we will be directing our activities towards a particular goal, accepting which is prescribed, accepting which is just, and till that point, we will be attached to the fruits of that actions. And until and unless we are freed from the expectations of those fruits, we will be bound by the expectations. And this thing, even though it sounds so easy by words, but that's not so easy. But practically we can see that being unattached to the results of the work, it gives us some sense of relief. Just see in nowadays how it goes. We can compare to what work performed by a person who is working an 8 to 9 job compared to a person who is owning a business. Okay, so a person who is owning a business, he's constantly pressure. He is under pressures. Okay, is market going up? Is market going down? Is my supplies coming in? How is it going? Am I earning enough profit? Does my employees working properly? Is my everything? So he's constantly under stress. No matter whether at what time he is working, he is the owner of the business, but he is anxious. But a person who is doing a 9 to 5 job, as I have done that job as well, so by experience I can say that 40%, Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. So yes, a person who is doing 9 to 5 job, by experience I can tell 40% of the time they are busy working, and remaining 60% of the time, they are busy looking, acting like they are busy, so that they shouldn't, and they are just watching the time, watching the clock again and again after every 30 minutes, so that the clock will tick and they will get out, they will sign out immediately once they are. And once they are out of the work, then they don't bother, they don't care what's happening in the office, right? So why? Because they don't care that even though if something fluctuates, still they are gonna get their salary on time. It's not like a subtle profit they are saying, as compared to a businessman who is owning that business is worried, because he is going to accept the profit and he is going to enjoy through it. So that was just a simple example. So again, work which has to be performed shouldn't be motivated by personal motivation, or else it will lead to bondage. In again third chapter, it's such a nice verse. Yajna harat karma no nyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha tad aharat karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. This verse 3.9 also again nicely explains that until and unless, Krishna explains, until and unless you sacrifice whatever actions you are performing to Lord Vishnu, or else this work will cause bondage in this material world. Again, repeating the same point. So you should perform your prescribed duties in satisfaction of Vishnu, then you can remain free from bondage. Very similar to this verse. So again, Nishkam Karma Yoga also is highlighted, where we not just do what the work you are doing, but we do the work for satisfaction of Krishna. That's what Krishna consciousness is. Can you scroll down to, there is one line in the purport which I would like to highlight. Starting from personal activity. Yes. Where it is, I'm not able to see. Oh yeah, exactly. So the line goes like, personal activity and responsibility arise from false ego and godlessness, or lack of Krishna consciousness. Okay, till now we were discuss how the false ego is important to be cleared off, to progress in a spiritual path. But the godlessness, Prabhupada sometimes has implanted such, peak points, godlessness. Okay, even if a person has accepted that he is not the only doer, but having a God-centered society is so important. Unless and until, what will happen? If your actions are not centered towards a superior thing, then it will be centered towards you, or it will be centered towards who you care for. And eventually your actions will still be motivated by your own personal whim, your own personal motivation, and your own personal aspirations. Prabhupada has so nicely explained the concept of world brotherhood is not possible until there is parenthood. So similarly, Krishna consciousness is the one which we can keep Krishna in that center and work around it, so that we will not be selfish, we will not be bodily conscious, and we can serve to Krishna for his satisfaction, neither of our beloved satisfaction or nor our own satisfaction. So till we do that, we can be properly detached from our actions, and we can work progressively, collectively, in coordination for satisfaction of Krishna as a society. So again, we are not brahmacharis, we are not grahasthas, we are not vanaprasthas, neither we are sannyasis. Who are we? Jivera Swarup hoy Krishna Nityadas. Mahaprabhu said similar thing, and he said, I am not a sannyasi, I am not a brahmachari, I am not a grahastha, I am not a vanprasthi. I am Gopi Bhartur Padakamalo Dasa Dasanu Das. And as a Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are aspiring same. But yes, that's what we are aspiring for. Okay, again coming back to this verse. The second prerequisite to be free from all the actions we are performing, the second prerequisite is, translation says, whose intelligence is not entangled. So, okay, what does entangled intelligence sounds like? Again, when a person is acting by his false ego, where the person false ego is, his mind and his intelligence go to that direction, unless and until your mind is regulated. That happens because if you, again, coming back, if you're feeling that you are a person, you are this material body, then you will try to satisfy this material body, you will try to satisfy the senses of this material body to its maximum, to its fullest, according to the mind. Because mind is controlling our senses, and mind is the one which is pleased by engaging our senses. And once our mind is not regulated, we will the mind utilizes the intelligence of the jiva, not the jiva, of the body, of the material body, to perform those actions. We have seen in history the many criminal masterminds. They were highly intellectual peoples, highly qualified peoples, but they were controlled by their unattentive and foolish, desireful mind. Their mind was not regulated. So, yes. So the intelligence which is not entangled means the spiritual intelligence. The spiritual intelligence will guide the jiva how he can perform devotional service properly in accordance to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Whereas comparatively, a material intelligence will see how the body can be facilitated as much as it can to get more and more glory, name, fame, money and everything. So even though we have got this intelligence after so many lifetimes, that intelligence has to be free from entanglement of the false ego, by which we can utilize this intelligence to study scriptures, to study our philosophy in more deeper way. The treasure house of literature which has been left by our acharyas, we can study that. We can share this sublime Krishna consciousness philosophy to every one of us. We can preach this movement. That's what Mahaprabhu expect from us, and we are in this movement. So we have to engage our intelligence in a higher goal. And again, by fulfilling these two requisites, we can be free from this bondage. At the end of this purport, Prabhupada gave a very nice example which he has repeated before as well. A soldier who is acting in the superior order of his commander, and he even kills in a frontier of a war, or in a battlefield, or in a border, he is not condemned for this action, even though he is killing, whereas he is awarded by a medal of bravery by the government, by the supreme authority. But if the same person comes back to his home, and if that person has the same gun with him, and he by chance got a feudal with his neighbor, and he shoots that person, the pistol is the same, hands are the same, conclusion is the same, but will he be awarded for his action? No. He will be condemned for it, and he will be judged, and he will be properly prosecuted by the government for it. Why? Because that same action which he performed earlier was guided by superior authority. It was needed at the time. It was a responsibility. It was not his own personal whim. It was not his personal choice of doing it. But whereas in the second scenario, he killed by his own personal whim. Why? Because he had some disagreement with that fellow, and he killed him. That's why he will be condemned. So acting to a superior authority is necessary. In our case, we are in this movement. Who are our superior authority? Sadhu, Guru, Shastra, our spiritual master. He is our spiritual authority. And once we are submitted to that authority, acting attentively towards that authority is also very important. One example comes of Maharaj Yudhishthir. In Mahabharata war, when Bhishma Dev was out of commission, and Dronacharya took the charge of the army as a commander, at that time he was causing destruction, immense amount of destruction, and controlling him was getting very, very difficult. And Krishna says that, okay, we have to do something about Dronacharya. What to do? So he asked, in meantime, he asked Yudhishthir to go and ask Dronacharya how to defeat him. And as simple as Yudhishthir was, he went and asked Dronacharya that, how can I defeat you? And he says, yes, the question you are asking is a very good question, because I have a strength that even though if I stay back, me, Bhishma, I stay back even with a staff in my hand, Still, even what to say of this army? Even if there are army full of demigods and the demons, still they won't be able to defeat me. So unless and until I am without any weapon, I will not be defeated. Then Yudhishthira asks, okay, how can we take weapons out of your hands? How can that be possible? Then he says that, see, I am not motivated personally performing in this war. I am motivated only by my fraternal love towards my son. Just because he wants me to fight in this war, I am fighting in this war. So if something happens to him, I will have no reason fighting in this war. So I will immediately leave all my weapons, and that's the only way you can defeat me. So okay. He repeats the same thing in the camp, and then Krishna says, okay, we have to do something. Then they plan that, okay, we will, for a time being, we will send what's the name of Dronacharya's son? Ashwatthama. Yes, we will send Ashwatthama out of the way so that no one will be able to know where Ashwatthama is. So next day, Bhima wings his gada, his club, in such a force that Ashwatthama, along with his chariot, flies miles away out of zone, out of clearance. And everyone starts to say, oh, Ashwatthama is killed, oh, Ashwatthama is killed, oh, Ashwatthama is killed. And like Dronacharya, no, how can my son be killed? Is my son killed? He's like, everyone says, no, he is killed. And even his own army is like, I can't see Ashwatthama anywhere. So yes, there is a chance he is killed. But Dronacharya was still, no, in disbelief. No, my son is not killed. Okay, whom to believe? He says, no one can lie. Everyone can lie, but except Yudhishthir. He is the Satyavan. He will never say lie. So he asked Yudhishthir, is Ashwatthama died? At that time, Krishna explained very nicely to Yudhishthir that you have to say that, you have to lie. You have to say that Ashwatthama is killed. But again, Yudhishthir, thinking he himself is the doer, he is the Satyavan, and he shouldn't lie. It will be unjust. But he doesn't understand. This command was coming from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He is the truth personified. Whatever he says is the truth. So even though at that time, by his own intelligence, he was thinking that, okay, this is not true. This is not just telling Dronacharya that his son is died. But just because Krishna was saying it as an authority, he should have listened to it without arguing. But he didn't. He said that, okay, Ashwatthama is killed. But softly he said, the Ashwatthama. And Ashwatthama, the name of an elephant, at that time, the elephant named Ashwatthama was killed by Bhima. So, in effect, Yudhishthira didn't say complete lie. He said that, okay, Yudhishthira said that Ashwatthama, the elephant, has been killed, very softly. And he couldn't say that elephant is killed so loudly. And when Dronacharya heard this, then he left his bow and arrow and his weapons, and then Drushtadumna killed him. But just because of this refutance, just because of his hesitance to act what Krishna said, in the end of Mahabharata, he has to witness what hells look like. So Vaishnavacharya says that he has to witness what hells look like because he refuted acting on Krishna's words. Whereas non-Vaishnavacharya says that he had lied once, that's why he has to see the hell. But no. Just because he hesitated to act what Krishna said, that's why he have to witness hell. Whereas compared to all the other four Pandavas, along with Draupadi, went directly to Vaikuntha planets. So yes, that's how I can conclude to this verse. Thanks for listening so patiently, and I will please accept any questions, any corrections. Yes, please. Hare Krishna.
I have a question regarding the last point. You said Yudhishthira had to see hell because he refuted Krishna's words. But then in the narrative of Bhagavad Gita, isn't Arjuna in a similar situation where he initially has refuted Krishna's words? So in that case, why that impartiality? And secondly, also just on top of that, in one sense, isn't it a bit harsh that just because he refuted his words,
Mm-hmm.
it's very fear-inducing,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately amounts to Krishna conscious, like to have that dubbing engagement.
Mm-hmm.
In that sense, I wanted more clarification.
Sure. Yes, definitely. So the first question, Arjuna refuted as well. So if we see in first chapter, Arjuna is just saying, he's just blabbering basically in his own confusion, in his own anxiety. He's just blabbering that okay, this will happen, that will happen. I shouldn't fight. Even in beginning of the chapter 2, he is like okay, but then one point comes. Before that point, even Krishna is like, how can you act like this? You know, you sound like an imbecile. You shouldn't, this behavior doesn't suit you. You are a warrior of highest caliber. You shouldn't speak like this. But later on, he says, Karpanya doshat patasva bhava paschamitam dharma samudha cheta yacherya jitam bhuritan me yasya shishya tavishadi mam tam prapannam. What he says, that okay, I am confused by my miserly weakness. Now I submit. I am surrendered to you. You tell me what is best for me. From that point onwards, Krishna starts explaining, and Bhagavad Gita actually starts from that point. So yes, at that initially it might seem that Arjuna refuted what Krishna said, but later on after the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gave an open choice. Okay, I have told what I have said, what I said, but now it's your choice what to do. So Karishya Vachanam Tava. Finally, he did what Krishna asked him to do. He did fight the war. And the second, it seems a bit harsh, he has to witness hell. But we have to understand in a broader perspective as well. Who are Pandavas? They are perfectly eternal beings. They are eternal associates of Krishna. They are performing this Leela with Krishna. And even though Yudhishthir has to witness hell, he didn't have to go through hell. He just witnessed how the hell looks like, and immediately he went back again with Pandavas to the Vaikuntha planets, again to perform eternal pastimes with Krishna. So, if we see, this is the whole Mahabharata is a pastime, and characters who are performing this pastime are associates of Krishna. So it wasn't hard, but he utilized his own associates, his own personal devotees. Yudhishthira was a great devotee of Krishna. I am not condemning him at all, but through Yudhishthira, we can learn that okay, when the action has to perform by the order of our superiors, especially when it comes to Guru, because in our sense, Guru is representing Krishna. His words is as good as Krishna. Yasa prasada bhagavad prasado. His words are as equal to us. So yes, we have to be firm to that word. That's what we can learn from this. Yes, anyone else has a question? Yes, please. Hare Krishna.
You picked up that point from the personal activity and responsibility as from false ego and all this. So how would we explain this to someone who's trying to run away from their personal responsibilities of the garb of Krishna consciousness? I've seen those cases a lot. And you mentioned that we are not brahmachari, we are not sannyasi, we are not this and that. But because we follow very bhakti, we have to kind of identify ourselves with that kind of varna and ashram initially.
Yes.
Because that's a higher goal. So how would we do that?
That's why when we preach our philosophy, we don't promote sentimentalism. We don't promote sentimentalism. We promote what Shastra says. We promote what our philosophy says. We promote what our Acharya says. So, yeah, this point may come. But a person who is just running away from his responsibility, obviously he has not understand what Krishna has to say in Bhagavad Gita completely. He has not understand our philosophy properly. So yes, that question might come. But again, that's why we have a mentorship program in ISKCON, so that even though he's a beginner devotee, still he's been guided by a senior Vaishnava, and whatever decision he takes under that mentor. And later on, how he progresses, how he chants, how he's performing his devotional service, he might get purified, and then Krishna again can suggest him what is best to do, and he might do it. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, that was not audible, yes. Sorry, I am not properly audible. I can't understand the question. Can you speak more loudly? It's a comment. Oh, yes, that's true. There is a difference between Arjuna and Yudhishthira in that way. Yes. Yes. Anyone else? Yes, please.
You said that we are not the doer and every action is sanctioned by Krishna. And how does Krishna then decide? Obviously, there's a lot of things that have happened in history as well, happening today, which are not so good, but by individuals doing bad actions and stuff. And what's the criteria for Krishna to decide whether to sanction an action or to not allow an action?
Yes, very nice question. So there are two aspects. I will quickly summarize because the Gaur Aarti is about to start. So I'll quickly say that two things. The first person who is trying to be a devotee, he is trying to be a surrendered soul. For them, what will happen? Krishna knows who we are, what we are, and we have been through a number of lifetimes. He knows our tendency more better than us. He knows what karma we got, and he knows in which way we should be purified, by which that jiva can come to Krishna in the shortest way possible. So accordingly, he might guide. But in the second scenario, where the person who is not surrendered, who is not a devotee, he is completely motivated by his own personal whims, by his own personal aspirations. For that person, obviously the karma guides, and there is again free will, the concept of free will. The free will is there. So again, the person is free to act because that person is still trying to satisfy satisfy what he wants from this material world. So Krishna will let him act so that he can satisfy himself towards its fullest, and obviously it's not possible because this world is full of misery. So at one point he will come that, okay, no matter how much ever I satisfy myself, no matter how much ever I try to enjoy, but still I end up suffering more than enjoying. So then he can come to the spiritual path again. So there is two sides of this point. So again, being surrendered soul towards Krishna is the first requisite if we have to reach Krishna. Yes. Anyone else, or should we proceed to Gaur Aarti? Jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jayo Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Jayo Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radhe. Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radhe. Jayo